Sarah's hands trembled as she counted the crumpled bills for the third time. $17.43. The hospital charity gala was tomorrow night, and she had exactly $17.43 to her name. "Everything okay?" Jenny, her fellow nurse, peeked over the break room table where Sarah had spread out her meager collection of ones and fives. "Oh, just budgeting," Sarah said quickly, sweeping the money back into her purse. She couldn't bring herself to admit that after paying rent, groceries, and her mother's medication, she had nothing left for a dress. The gala wasn't mandatory, but everyone expected her to be there. She'd been nominated for Nurse of the Year. The irony wasn't lost on her. Celebrated for her dedication while unable to afford a decent outfit to accept the recognition. "See you there tomorrow," Jenny called as she headed back to her shift. Sarah managed a weak smile and wave. Room 314 was her next stop. 8-year-old Marcus had been her patient for 3 weeks now, recovering from a complex heart surgery. His father, David, rarely left his side, a single dad who'd rearranged his entire life around hospital visiting hours. "Miss Sarah!" Marcus's face lit up as she entered. Despite everything he'd been through, the boy's spirit remained unbreakable. "Dad brought cards. Want to play Go Fish?" David looked up from his laptop, where he'd been working quietly in the corner chair he'd claimed as his own. At 42, he had the kind of tired eyes that came from months of worry, but they always softened when he looked at his son. "Don't hassle Miss Sarah, buddy. She's got other patients to see." "Actually," Sarah said, checking her watch, "I've got 15 minutes. Deal me in." As they played, Sarah noticed David watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. She'd grown comfortable with both of them over the weeks, Marcus with his endless knock-knock jokes, and David with his quiet gratitude and unexpected thoughtfulness. He always asked about her day, remembered details about her life that most people forgot. "Miss Sarah," Marcus said suddenly, "are you going to the fancy party tomorrow?" Her cards nearly slipped from her hands. "What fancy party?" "Dad saw a poster, the hospital dance thingy. He said all the nurses get dressed up like princesses." Heat crept up her neck. "Well, I might make an appearance." "You should wear blue," Marcus declared with 8-year-old authority. "It matches your eyes." David's gaze met her eyes across the small table. Something flickered there. Understanding, maybe? "Marcus is right about the blue," he said quietly. After her shift, Sarah walked to the department store she'd been avoiding. The formal dresses seemed to mock her from their displays, price tags dancing like tiny daggers. The cheapest one she liked was $87. She might as well have been looking at designer gowns. "Can I help you find something?" A saleswoman approached, with the practiced smile of someone who could spot a browser from a mile away. "Just looking," Sarah mumbled, backing away from the dresses like they were contagious. The next morning brought Marcus's final day before discharge. Sarah tried to focus on the joy of his recovery, but the gala loomed over her like a dark cloud. She decided to skip it entirely. She could claim to be sick, or... "Miss Sarah!" Marcus's voice echoed down the hallway as she approached his room. "Come quick, Dad has something important to ask you." Her heart rate picked up. Important questions in hospitals usually weren't the good kind. She rushed into the room, ready for medical emergencies or discharge complications. Instead, she found David standing beside Marcus's bed, holding a garment bag, and looking more nervous than she'd ever seen him. "Is everything okay?" Sarah asked, glancing between father and son. Marcus was practically vibrating with excitement. "Tell her, Dad, tell her!" David cleared his throat. "This might sound presumptuous, and please say no if I'm overstepping, but..." He held up the garment bag. "Marcus and I went shopping yesterday. We thought you might need something for tonight." Sarah's mouth opened, but no words came out. "It's blue," Marcus announced, "like your eyes. And Dad got shoes too, but he was really nervous about guessing your size, and he made the lady at the store promise you could exchange everything if it doesn't fit. And..." "Marcus," David said gently, "let me explain. To us, over the past few weeks, you've been more than Marcus's nurse. You've been his friend. Mine too. You stayed late when he was scared after surgery. You brought him books from your own collection. You made this whole experience bearable. Sarah felt tears gathering behind her eyes. I wanted to do something nice for you, but I realized I don't even know if you're seeing someone, or if you'd already have plans for tonight, or if accepting a gift from a patient's family would get you in trouble. God, this seemed like such a good idea yesterday. Just ask her, Marcus whispered loudly. David laughed despite his nerves. Okay, Sarah, I know this is completely backwards, but would you consider being my first date in 3 years to a hospital gala where I'll probably know exactly one person, you, and spend the whole evening feeling underdressed and out of place? Sarah stared at him. Your first date? Since Marcus's mom died, he said simply. I haven't been exactly in the right headspace for anything social. But something about tonight, about seeing you recognized for how amazing you are at what you do, I couldn't let you miss it. The tears she'd been holding back finally spilled over. David, I can't accept. It's not charity, he said quickly. It's gratitude, and maybe hope that you'd want to spend an evening with a nervous single dad who's forgotten how to do this. Marcus grabbed Sarah's hand. Please say yes, Miss Sarah. Dad's been practicing in the mirror. You have not, David protested, his face reddening. Have to. I heard you. Sarah, would you? No, that's dumb. Miss Sarah, I was wondering. No, too formal. Sarah burst out laughing through her tears. You really want to take me to a stuffy hospital fundraiser as your first date in 3 years? I really do. Although I'm not sure what that says about my decision-making skills. Sarah looked at the garment bag, then at Marcus's hopeful face, and David's earnest expression. For 3 weeks, she'd watched this man put his son's needs above everything else. She'd seen his exhaustion, his worry, his fierce love. She'd also seen his kindness toward the cleaning staff, his patience with difficult doctors, his quiet strength. Okay, she said softly. Okay? David's eyebrows shot up. Yes, I'll be your first date. She accepted the garment bag with trembling hands. But I have one condition. David nodded eagerly. Anything. If I'm terrible company because I'm nervous about being nominated for an award, you have to promise to tell me more of Marcus's embarrassing stories about you. Deal, David grinned. Though, fair warning, he's got plenty of material. I heard you singing Disney songs in the Shammer, Marcus announced triumphantly. As Sarah left the hospital that afternoon, dress in hand and butterflies in her stomach, she realized something had shifted. For the first time in months, she wasn't worried about having enough money or making ends meet. Instead, she was wondering what it would feel like to have someone choose her, not out of obligation or convenience, but because they genuinely wanted her company. She had $17.43 to her name, but somehow she felt richer than she had in years.